Hi there, I'm Aaron Sagers. And for those of you that don't know me, I am a paranormal journalist. Well, I'm a journalist. And for a lot of my career, I have focused on entertainment as well as the paranormal. I'm a researcher, I've contributed to a bunch of books, and I've also worked as a mainstream journalist for CNN, Huffington Post, MTV, Chicago Tribune Company as a columnist and as an editor. And well, let's see. I've worked all across the media spectrum, and I've done a lot of hosting in the paranormal realm. I've appeared on shows such as Paranormal Challenge. I was an executive producer and host on Paranormal Paparazzi, which was based off of my website, paranormalpopculture.com. I've also been on shows such as Behind the Screams, about stories of real Hollywood horror movies. And I have been on Portals to Hell, Paranormal Lockdown Evidence Revealed, currently appear on Paranormal Caught on Camera, and a whole bunch of other places. But really, when it comes down to it, I am a paranormal nerd. I love the paranormal. Growing up, for me, it was like comic books, horror movies, and Steven Spielberg movies. It was all together for me. I'd be watching old episodes of The Twilight Zone, flip over to reading comic books, Spider-Man comic books, flip over to reading about ghost stories and supposed tales of the occult, such as Time Life's Mysteries of the Unexplained books. And so at my core, pop culture and the paranormal were all one and the same, all came from the same thing. So people that try to separate pop culture and the paranormal, I don't quite understand it. I feel like it doesn't make a lot of sense. You're missing out. You're missing out on a lot of cool opportunities. So, and I thank you guys for being here tonight, joining me on this. We're trying some new software out for this live stream, so I hope it works out okay. I hope you can hear me okay and you can see me okay. There's enough lighting. I did turn down the lighting somewhat, had some candles behind me to set a mood. Hopefully that works and none of the rum behind me falls over into the candles, causing an explosion. If that does happen, we're going to keep live streaming because that will be great internet TV, right? So let's do that. So we're going to talk about some things shortly. First off, before we do, I do want to say happy National Beer Day. I am known for my tiki cocktails, which I've been making a lot on Instagram, and I do love good tiki drink. I don't know what you guys are out there drinking tonight. I would like to know, but cheers to you, whatever you are drinking. For me, this is a Scorpion Bowl IPA from Stone Brewing. Now, a Scorpion Bowl is a classic tiki drink. And again, now Stone Brewing is great. And as a tiki fan and also a beer fan, the Scorpion Bowl IPA came together really nicely. It is a very kind of fruity IPA, very tropical in nature. So happy National Beer Day, wherever you guys may be. It is tasty. I like it. I can't find it too often either. Orange Kickstar, says Jack. And wine, says Andrea. I don't know what Orange Kickstart is. Jack, Kickstar. I don't know what that is. And Carly, meanwhile, is drinking some Pike Place coffee. All right, that's good stuff. So, okay. So to open up with, ooh, and I should point this out. Look at that. Stacy's drinking the nice peach margarita. I like that. Well, I am going to kick things off momentarily. However, just a little housekeeping. This is kind of exciting news. I want to let you guys know that, so our topic tonight is haunted isolation. Where would you self-quarantine? But before we get into that, I want to kind of share something that's really exciting. We have a sponsor tonight, guys, and I want to show our sponsor. That's right. We have a sponsor, and the book is Dead Run. It's a book sponsor by Mike Maddox. Dead Run. It's available only on Amazon Kindle. So you can go out and download that now or after this stream. And the book is definitely one that I'm excited to have in my possession on my Amazon Kindle. And it's a post-apocalyptic novel. It's not a zombie novel, but fans of zombie literature will get into it. And it's certainly something that is relevant for these times that we're in right now. So that again is Dead Run, on available only on Amazon Kindle. Okay, so let's dive back into the show. The topic tonight, as I said, is haunted isolation. Where would you self-quarantine? So I thought about this a lot. I'm working on, I contributed to an Uprocks travel story. I have done a fair amount of travel writing in my career. I don't know how many of you guys know that, but I worked for not just the Travel Channel, but budget travel, contributed travel pieces to CNN, to Chicago Tribune Company, all across the board, Huffington Post. I have done a lot of travel writing, and I love to travel. Travel is perhaps the favorite part of my job, getting to explore places that I didn't grow up in a family that traveled a lot. So being able to do that is super exciting for me. I'd love to do it. I'm willing to go anywhere, explore anything. I do, however, as a paranormal geek, gotta love going to haunted locations or locations that are, you know, sort of enshrined with urban legends and spooky tales and stories of UFOs or lights in the night sky, or even cryptids, Sasquatch, Loch Ness, things like that. Love it to death. And combining travel with the paranormal is awesome. However, right now, we are not really able to travel, right? We're isolating. I'm isolating at home right now. And, you know, home makes sense to me. I've got a bed, I've got my dogs here, I've got a fully stocked refrigerator, and we've got, all sorts of food and luxuries. A nice bathroom, a shower, hot water, things like that. But what if we didn't have that? And what if I were to pose to you this scenario of being isolated in a haunted location? Now, don't answer just yet, because there's a lot of considerations. Obviously, there's a lot of haunted locations out there all around the world. Not all of them are equal. Not all of them are equal as far as amenities. So I'm curious about the types of locations that you would want to go to. So let's ask the very first question. Where would you go? What type of place would you go? We can ask in broad terms, what type of haunted location would you isolate in? Would you self-quarantine in? Now, first off, we do have Andrea says haunted castle. She would isolate in a haunted castle. Now, Andrea, I'm curious to find out why haunted castle is the way to go for you. And it's worth mentioning that Jessica says, too bad your home isn't haunted. I'm okay with my home as far as I know it not being haunted. I live in a building that is more than 100 years old. So far, the ghosts have not appeared to me or not in a way that I've noticed them. However, that's okay because I live in New York City and I pay for a place without having a roommate. So if I've got a spectral roommate that's just sort of hanging out in my apartment without paying, I don't think I would be so cool with that. So I'm glad that I don't have any ghostly roommate, a spectral squatter, as it were. So Andrea says haunted castle. I want to find out why. Dory says ghost town. Holly's getting specific. She's saying Waverly Hills. Okay. Now, before we get into the specifics of each location, why a castle? Why a prison? Why an asylum? Why a ghost town, Dory? Why are those the places that you want to self-quarantine in? Now, Jessica mentions in the comments that she has been to Eastern State twice, but not at night. She likes Fort Mifflin and the Edith Wharton Estate as well. I have to admit, I have not been to the Edith Wharton Estate. However, I've been to both Fort Mifflin and Eastern State many times. And in fact, Eastern State Penitentiary is probably the location that I've been to the most. It's sort of my haunted home away from home. I've filmed a lot there. I've been overnight there many times, and I've given many talks there. It's one of my favorite places. It's very important to me within my paranormal history. It's been there for very important moments in my paranormal career, and I also love the history of the location. But I think the thing that Eastern State Penitentiary really is appealing to me from the isolation, self-quarantine element is space. It is a massive location, and it's behind, what, 30-foot walls, I believe? So you could self-isolate and still essentially have this town, these massive structures there, and lots of space to move around in. You could jog around. You could, play some racquetball or some bouncing balls off of the walls without running into another human being. And it does, to Amanda's viewpoint, minimal bugs and running water. I can't speak to the minimal bugs because it is an exposed area. It, for something like 20 years, was almost reclaimed by nature. So it's got a bit of urban jungle element to it, I guess, or natural reclamation. But it does have running water, at least in some parts. There is an office. So within that office, there's also electricity and some climate control. So that's probably where I would try to bunk. But here's the thing, is a location like Eastern State Penitentiary, it's not quite 200 years old, I think. Yeah, it was in operation for quite a long time. It's notoriously, supposedly haunted. And I'll tell you what, when you're there at night, overnight, and you're almost alone, it gets very creepy, very dark, very quick. Also, whatever the temperature is outside, it feels like it's somehow worse behind those walls. There are a lot of reports of shadow figures. I have seen actually multiple shadow figures at Eastern State, some very creepy ones. A lot of odd noises. I've seen some odd mist type formations in Eastern State. So it is a creepy one. And hold on, let me, in case I'm missing some of these comments. Now, Stacy says Eastern State would be hard for her to self-quarantine at. I'm curious to know why. Carly is going for practical. She wants a haunted store, a superstore, has everything for a quarantine. The ghosts are usually pretty nice. Well, it depends, I guess. There is that Safeway, I believe, out in California, in San Francisco. We talk about it on the podcast I co-host called Nightmarica. We talk about that supposedly haunted Safeway. That had, supposedly the ghost of a young boy, and that ghost was fairly innocuous, fairly residual, and also it's a Safeway. So you got all the supplies that you could need. So good thinking there, Carly. I think I like where you're going with that. I mean, I don't know. It's not cheating because I didn't say you couldn't pick a Safeway. I mean, but a haunted mall, I guess you could also say. So I didn't say you couldn't. You're being very sly there, very cunning. I appreciate that. Dory says she likes Garnet Ghost Town. It's reportedly haunted, but the most peaceful place you've ever been. So now Dory's going for an entire town. Again, I don't know if that's allowed. I didn't say you couldn't go for a ghost town. I was thinking like a building or a series of structures. But okay, that's good. A ghost town. Now, Andrea, I'm going to jump ahead. I like this one. Tell me about this castle in Japan, Himeji. My Japanese pronunciation. I've been to Japan, and my pronunciation is not great. So tell me what's awesome about it. And a ghost bit you there at Eastern State Penitentiary. Okay, so you don't want to hang out in a place where a ghost might bite you. David, I'd like to know more about David here says he is isolated in a haunted location, a 269-year-old house. David, tell me, is it good? Is it bad? Friendly? Negative in your opinion? Have things been happening while you've been isolated? And what? Give me all the details, man. I want to know. Jack says Mall of America. Good stuff going on there. It'd be a good place to hold out in. Yeah, mall. I mean, look, I watched Dawn of the Dead, the George Romero movie. A mall is a great place to be. I mean, until it isn't, until the zombies overrun it or the ghost, perhaps. Hajime Castle is well known for being one of the best preserved examples of Japanese castle architecture in the entire country. Oh, I might have actually been there, I think I was actually there. What prefecture is it in? Is that the name of it? You have to tell me. Now, David says the most recent one was actually kind of cute. Saw that his cat, this is in the place where he's self-isolating, saw that his cat had passed away the day after Christmas. And I'm sorry to hear that. It's very hard to lose an animal, a loved one. But beyond that, you feel there's somewhat negative female spirit that tends to bother the children certain nights. That is not good. That is unfortunate. And I'm sorry about that. You may have, but establishing ground rules about, no, you can't do this, or, can't bother the children. They need their sleep. Maybe it's not negative. Maybe it's just misunderstood. I try to approach things from that perspective, that maybe we just don't understand whatever it is wants or needs. So getting a lot of suggestions. Prisons, castles, David's house that's already haunted. We probably can't isolate there because he's already there, and that would defeat the purpose of isolation and self-quarantine. So malls are great ones, very smart. And that actually leads me to the next question. So let's say that you're not at a mall. Let's say you're not at a mall, you're not at a superstore, you're not at David's house. What would you bring with you to this haunted location? Now, keep in mind, maybe there's not electricity there. Maybe it's not entirely climate controlled. Maybe it gets very dark at night. What would you bring? What are, let's say, 3 items that are your must-haves for your isolation in your haunted location? Just want to point out that Lavina said that she is in a haunted location with supposedly the spirit of a young girl who has bothered your daughter more than you. You've seen her on occasion. You've also seen your boy Makar, the cat. Well, it's nice to run into your cat. Even I'm sorry that he has passed away, but that's kind of cool. Just want to bring up Andrew's comment that the Hajime Castle is supposedly haunted by a ghost named Okiku, who crawls out of the well each night and shrieks. So visit during the daytime. Yeah, just let them do their thing. I would say that you're going to be there all day and all night. So you're going to be stuck in this place. So you're going to possibly be around that well or wherever it's crawling out of every day. So you have to keep that in mind. You're not going to get out of that one. But maybe you just avoid that part of the castle at the time. Now, the other thing about Eastern State, and I think would be said about a castle as well, is in addition to outdoor space where you can exercise, run around, just get some fresh air, is the fact that you can sleep in different locations. So if you get bored of seeing the same four walls, you can spread out, go elsewhere. Um, so I think that's cool. Also, this is another point in the favor of Eastern State, and I want you guys to think about this. There is the guard tower, which you can presumably access during quarantine. Not most days. I have been up there. It's very cool. I'll show you some pictures if I can. Let's see if I don't know if I have a picture up of Eastern State available to me. But the guard tower is great, so you can actually check out the city and feel like you're the city of Philadelphia and feel like you're not really that isolated. Okay, so what are we bringing with us? Carly is bringing outerwear, water, and lantern. Okay, probably food too, I'm guessing. But in it, okay. So Carly, I'll give you the option of throwing in more things. Let's say we've got water for you. So you're going lantern and outerwear. Okay, you're thinking climate. What else? Jack's idea is that he wants to bring night vision. It's pretty smart because if you're in a haunted location at night, if it gets very dark, and it does in places, castles, Eastern State Penitentiary, let's see, Waverly Hills. I'm thinking of Fort Mifflin gets very dark, especially if there's not a lot of stars or a moon outside out there at Fort Mifflin. So you might want a some night vision, be able to see around at night. If it gets too noisy at night, if you think you got a noisy ghost on your hand, maybe you want to fire up those night vision goggles. I just want to go back to David here. He's telling me that, oh yeah, in the house, we were talking about establishing ground rules. Tell them to go at bedtime. That's good. Point to a corner of her room. That's smart. Sounds like your daughter is on top of it. Sleeping bag, lantern, solar shower. Okay. This is Dory's comment. This is what she wants to bring. That's good. Snacks. You're definitely going to want snacks, Carly. You don't know how long you're going to be in there. Let's say at least 2 weeks. At least. Amanda is thinking in terms of Amanda's a woman after my own heart with this comment. She wants to bring bourbon. She can figure the rest out from there. Not opposed to raiding, which she assumes is the point society will have reached if she's stuck someplace with ghosts and bugs. Bourbon. I mean, maybe you can trade that bourbon over the wall for some food. Some of the bourbon, not all the bourbon. But, there is an interesting point to what Amanda brings out. She can figure out the rest from there. You might want to position yourself somewhere near a stream, some running, naturally running water, somewhere to fish. Maybe some area where there's some wildlife that if you are able to hunt, you can hunt. If push comes to shove, that's very apocalyptic, but if you need to. Andrew is thinking smart here. I'm liking this. Solar phone charger, of course. Cans of food, a lot. Night vision would be sweet. Water, and maybe use that well as a way of getting water. Probably someone's going to want to bring a shovel and probably some TP, guys, some toilet paper. I'm going to let you figure out why you might need a shovel and some TP. But I will say that I was a Boy Scout for a good long while, and there's very practical purposes to those things. Any haunted private islands, Levine asks. This is very practical. I like this. Based on my shirt and my affinity for tiki, I think a haunted island is the way to go. Now, there are haunted islands out there. In fact, there's some even in New York City. What's it called? Not Roosevelt Island. There's another island. Well, Staten Island is haunted, but I don't think you get all of Staten Island. But there's some islands where like asylums were built and whatnot. And but I think we're probably both thinking of tropical islands. Probably. I mean, look, people probably lived there at one point or another, indigenous people, and they may have had their own specters and spooks and ghosts that have stuck around there. So I think private island is a good way to think, Lavina. Can opener, says Carly. That's smart. Gonna want to open all those cans you're bringing with you. Yes, the doll island. That's not Povelia. But what is the doll island? I'm gonna look it up real quick. Um, because I forget the name. It is, well, there's the Island of the Dead Dolls. That's in Mexico City, but I feel like there's another one. Isla de las Muñecas. Muñecas. I don't know if my Spanish is not so good. North Brother Island. Alcatraz, says Mr. Mike Maddox. We have the author himself in the chat room. And Alcatraz. Alcatraz would be good, although once you're on there, you might be stuck. Unless you're the, what is it? Is it the Eagle of Alcatraz? The Birdman of Alcatraz? Who supposedly escaped. But Alcatraz would be good. Could get quite cold there at night. I don't know what the fishing is like off of Alcatraz. I don't know if you could fish. Jack makes a good point. Poveglia would be appropriate right about now. For those of you that don't know, Poveglia was considered a plague island in Italy, so that would be the place to go. So let me show you another location here. Let's see here. What other locations might I want to go to? Well, here's one. Anyone recall where that is? Let's show you one more time. If I can get that up. Who recognizes that? That would be Penhurst Asylum, actually. Penhurst Asylum. I presume that you guys actually saw that image go up. Here's one that I've spent a fair amount of time in. Okay. David wants to go to Dracula's castle. Oh, well. That's Dracula's castle. Yeah, that's Bran Castle in Romania, Transylvania area. And that is a place that I've spent a lot of time at. In fact, I was there with the direct descendant of Bram Stoker, Dacre Stoker, who will be at Michigan Paracon. I'll be at Michigan Paracon as well in August, which pretty certain we're going to be back to going places in August. So I would recommend you guys checking out Michigan Paracon at that point. And let's see, what else? Let's see. Here, I'll throw another one out there that I think would be pretty good to isolate yourself on. And let's see if I can show this one. Give you a hint. It's a boat. Where is this one? Anyone get that? I will check out your castle, Andrea. Is that an invite? Is your castle now? Are you inviting me to stay at your castle? Because the answer is yes. I accept your invitation. I RSVP in the affirmative. I will be at your castle. Yeah. The other one is the boat one. So one more time, I'll show that to you again. Yes, that is the Queen Mary. That's right. I've spent some time there, and actually, that's a pretty good one. As long as you have some electricity and some running water, that's a great one. There's a lot to spend, some downtime in, and run around. You can. There's a gym. The swimming pool is now drained and defunct. However, there's a couple bars. You can whip up your own food at a kitchen because you probably won't have a kitchen staff, and you can sleep in so many different rooms that you'll never get tired. So, What's your sister's crazy story from the Queen Mary, Andrea? I would like to hear what that one is. And Heather Quinn in the room. Hey, Heather, good to see you. Says she was just on the Queen Mary a month ago. I know you were because Heather Quinn had an excellent model shoot on the Queen Mary. It is a great location. I also have a pretty cool story from the Queen Mary. The very short version of it is something, I don't know if it was a ghost, specter, what, an invisible person, felt like they got in bed with me. I talk about the whole ordeal on the Nightmarica podcast, Boats. So download that to hear the whole thing. Jack says his first apparition sighting happened when he was 14. And where was that? Was that at home? And okay. So the other thing I want to ask you guys is when we're talking about self quarantining, what are some of the considerations that you would keep in mind? What are the other considerations? So we talked about things that you would bring with you. What else would you consider before you isolated yourself? Let's say I'm giving you a couple days to figure this out. Would you think about how close it might be to your family? Would you think about proximity to a major city or grocery stores or whatever? Maybe you can get some things delivered to you. I don't know. What other things would you think about in the considerations of your haunted isolation? It's pretty cool. Just going to the Queen Mary, Heather says that her toothbrush flew off the shelf in the bathroom of the stateroom you were in. Apparently, this ghost was very much opposed to good oral hygiene, which I'm very disappointed by that ghost. I guess they're I don't know, a fan of paranormal plaque. I guess I don't know, but I can't think of an appropriate pun for that. So it'll come to me, I'm sure. Something about teeth, ghosts, specters, booze, molars. I don't know. I'll work on some sort of wordplay there. It's not coming to me yet. Andrea wants to keep people out for her haunted isolation, self-quarantining. Want to keep people away. Well, you want a big wall then, or a moat, I guess, with a castle. That'll be pretty good. Oh, Jack's apparition was on the Queen Mary. That's pretty cool. Yeah, Stacy makes a good point. Think about weather. This is definitely a downside to Eastern State Penitentiary, which was one of my selections. Yeah, there's not great weather there. It gets pretty uncomfortable at times overnight. I would probably choose somewhere. Well, maybe my backup is like in the Keys or somewhere like that, or Scotland during like a nice summer. But Stacy, that is a good call. How about a song from Spooky Tooth? I have to admit, Mr. Maddox, I don't think I know Spooky Tooth, not immediately, and I feel so disappointed in myself for not picking up on that reference. Maybe we should bring you in to sing it. But Spooky Tooth sounds like a jazz band. I don't know. And I guess another question is, how long could you last? So let's say castle, Queen Mary, shopping mall. Well, not shopping mall. I'm taking shopping mall out of the equation. It's too easy. Prison, asylum, whatever it may be. How long could you last? Let's even give you a nice one, a haunted hotel. Haunted hotel would be great. Nobody said that yet. The Stanley Hotel would be a great haunted location. Pretty good weather, lots of space, lots of kitchens to use, bars to raid, indoor gyms and whatnot. But how long could you last? Especially, we haven't even talked about the supposed specters yet. Bouncing all around, making noises. Maybe they're not so keen on you being there. Can you leave to forage? Maybe right around in the nearby area. Maybe somebody did say haunted hotel and I missed it. Jack is saying somebody said haunted hotel. I missed it. Carly's question is, can we leave to forage? Yeah, and maybe in a limited area, like a yard area or something. I'm curious about how long we could last. I don't know. I mean, a hotel I could last for a while, but it could get pretty spooky in there if ghosts are stalking around, throwing things, making noises, leaning over you and breathing at night, pulling off those sheets. So, I mean, you guys are based on the chats. You guys can hang out for a long time indefinitely. Lavina's not bothered by the ghosts. Stacy's saying, hey, Queen Mary ghosts were pretty cool. She could hang out with them. Jack's saying he could stick around as long as he could find food and water. Okay. I think I would have my fill of some of the paranormal experiences while in isolation. It could get kind of tiring. And then one final question. Not a final question, but another question. See, okay, there's Andrea. She's speaking truth. The castle would be scary, so doesn't think she could handle it alone. Stacy saying not Estes Park, a fan of Stephen King, so you wouldn't want that. Except like the Stanley Hotel is supposedly haunted, but Stephen King had a pretty nice stay there. Lovina's mentioning, all right, now you guys are flying at me with the suggestions. The Drake Hotel, covers pulled off, leaned over. Yeah, but that's a pretty good one. Oh, Dreamweaver, Spooky Tooth. Wow, I'm sorry I missed that. Hi, Catherine. Hi to you. Thanks for joining in. And another question is, so, okay, you're there all day, all night. I mean, right now, I'm here all day. I go outside, I walk my dogs, maybe go grocery shopping, but for the most part, I'm here all day. And I have to admit, like, it's hard maintaining a schedule, a routine, working out, cooking properly, uh, waking up at an appropriate time. Routines seem like they are important to humans, and especially during this isolation time. So, would you keep a routine of investigating? Would you want to investigate while you're also living in a place, especially if you might turn up something rather uncomfortable that you don't want to know about? Or maybe you discover that maybe you're living amongst something that bears you ill will. Would you want to investigate during your time there? And what would your investigative routine be? Every day? Every other day? Every night at 9 p.m. to 2 a.m.? What would it be? I'm curious to find out. And hello to you, Rachel. Thanks for joining. Thanks for checking this out. Glad to see you. I wasn't really thinking zombie apocalypse. I was thinking you were in there for current situation, but whatever works for you. If you're stuck in a location for at least 2 weeks, probably longer. Now, Lovina says that her routine has maintained. She has meetings most of the day, so she'd be pretty good about keeping a routine. So, but what would you ghost hunt? Would you investigate, not knowing what you might turn up, good or bad? And if you were investigating, what kind of routine would you keep? Now, I am thinking I'm going to try something here. And if you guys are slowing down in the comments, I'm going to throw it to one other thing. Lavina says her daughter would love ghost hunting. Cool. Well, this is an interesting thought. This is like some stuff that my brain has been turning around. However, I got to admit, as soon as the isolation, self-quarantine lifts, probably going to take a trip to, I don't know, I was thinking about Scotland. That's pretty close to the top of my list. Wide open spaces, nice, crisp, fresh air, the Highlands, lots of cool, spooky locations. But I also would probably head down to some tropical location, a beach or something. That's what I'm looking forward to. I do want to let Stacy have one of the final words. She says she doesn't like to investigate at home, so if this was her 2-week home at least, then probably wouldn't do it. I think that's good common sense. I like that. And again, Carly echoes that. Wouldn't want to know. Yeah, I'm kind of with you guys on that. I'd be curious, but if I was there all night, could be a little bit tricky. Now, a couple of housekeeping things. I'm going to try to do something here and see if we can do it. Now, the other night, I tried to show you guys some footage, and I'm going to try this again. Okay, and we're going to see how this works out. So the other day, I was showing you some paranormal paparazzi, and I discovered another clip from paranormal paparazzi, and I wanted to share it with you. So if you want to bear with me, I'm gonna mute this, and let's see if I can bring up paranormal paparazzi and another segment from it. And bear with me. Okay. And good luck, right? Okay. Let's see if we can play this next act from Paranormal Paparazzi, a blast from the past. Okay. Apparently no audio is coming through on that, so I have failed to figure that part out. For whatever reason, that part didn't work out. But A for effort, we tried. And Catherine says you broke the internet. Not quite, but I'll try it again soonish. We'll see if we can figure that out. Gah, so frustrating. But that's okay. Half Jack says halfway there. Yes, halfway there. Okay, well, before I leave you guys tonight, I did want to ask for a couple things. First off, hey, wherever you check this out, please give me a like, a follow on Instagram and Twitter. Say hi. Please let other people know to spread the love and say hi. It's helpful and it goes a long way. Also, as I mentioned, I am co-hosting a new podcast called Nightmerica on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, basically wherever you can find your fine podcasts. Check that out. And look, I know that it is a tough time for everyone out there. I do want to say, I'm a working creative and I could always use your support. So if you like this and you want to throw me like a tip or whatever, there's my Venmo right there. Don't be ashamed. And I appreciate it, but certainly I'm going to keep doing this no matter what. And if you see on the corner there, or that corner, other corner, that corner, there's the logo for paranormalpopculture.com. I'm still doing that. So go check that out as well. And finally, just want to say I'm happy to bring in our new sponsor, which is Dead Run by Mr. Mike Maddox. And I'm going to ask you guys to check that book out and, give it a read just so you can see once more what that looks like. This is what the cover looks like. That's Dead Run by Mike Maddox, available only on Amazon Kindle. And big thanks to Dead Run for giving us some love and helping make this stream happen. So we're going to do this again. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for leaving a bunch of comments. This thing is going to continue being alive. And so you can continue to share this. So spread it to your friends. Spreading to your friends is perhaps poor choice of words during this time of isolation. So instead, share this on your Facebook pages and everywhere with your friends, because this will continue to live even after I end the broadcast. So wherever you guys are, thank you for joining me. Thank you for asking so many good questions and bringing up so many thoughtful ideas. And wherever you guys are, please stay safe, stay socially distanced, and perhaps most importantly, stay spooky and stay weird. Have a good night.